Mark's just gone off to the Chettery, and I've been. It's so tempting to put the washing from the washing machine straight into the tumble dryer. It's so tempting, but we've got the firelight in here. We've got the wood burner going, and it's really warm in here. It's like 23 degrees in here. So I brought the washing through, and I've hung it on the clothes dryer. But I'm exhausted now. I'm just so frustrated with something so simple as hanging washing on a clothes dryer. So it's down at a level that I can reach. I'm not having to stretch up like I used to with the washing line outside. But I'm aching. I've got backache. I've got shoulder ache, and it's a clear indication to me that my PMR is has I'm having a flare. It's called a flare in the UK, and it's called a rechute ici en France. Um, and I'm waiting for my blood results. I had a blood test on Monday, I think, and I haven't had the results yet. They should come in the post today. They're a bit slow nowadays, but yeah, fucking hell, it's really, really frustrating. Because I don't look ill. And Mark's just stood and said to me, "But you're ill." It's like, I don't look ill. And I've said this before. Anyway, so yesterday we you saw us heading off to Leroy Merlin to pick up the bathroom sink and cabinet. That was very straightforward and very it was a very good system. You get Yeah, I had a piece of paper from when we paid for it when we bought it. Um and it got a command number on it, and you get an email saying it's ready for you to collect. You need to make an appointment. So that's what we did, made an appointment for 11:30. And then you go through a barrier, but before you go through the barrier, you have to give your command number, give your name, and then you're sent to a bay, um, and you wait at the bay with your car, and they bring out your command. And it says on the email that they'll bring it to the car. It doesn't suggest that, and then that you load the car. And we were thinking, oh God, it's going to be heavy, and um, I do try and help, but I'm not meant to, and it's just heavy. So the guy comes out with his forklift with the goods on it, and in very good English, he said, "Would you like some help?" Yes, please. And put it in the car, easy as anything, with Mark. And then as we left, he said, "Have a good day." His English was really good. Um, and it's really nice that they offer, because they're not meant to, I don't think. It's certainly not part of the deal. So anyway, so that was loaded in the car. And I had said to Mark, I want to go up to Grandfray, because I haven't. Grandfray is only in the cities, and in the previous few years when we've been over that way, I haven't been browsing in supermarkets. I don't browse now. I shop online, specifically because of COVID. And obviously, early in COVID, I shopped online so that I could go and just collect it outside and not have to go in. And so every time we've been over that way, I'm sort of thinking, oh, I'd like to go in Grandfray, and then thinking, I can't do that, I shouldn't. And I know COVID's around, but I've had several vaccinations now, and I feel less concerned, I think, about contracting it, mainly because I think that it's not as dangerous as it was in the beginning. It's less. I was going to say virulent. Not sure if that's the right word. Anyway, so I don't feel quite so concerned. So anyway, we went up to Grandfray, and I really enjoyed browsing in there because there's lots of foods in there I don't get locally, lots of more exotic stuff that I don't see locally. And it was just really nice to buy food that we don't normally have. And I've bought back it's a roast It's a salmon roast. It's a piece of salmon wrapped around a load of coquille Saint-Jacques. So that will be really nice. We'll have that tomorrow. And I bought some chicken thighs. I haven't seen chicken thighs in a supermarket for years. Well, for months and months and months. I bought some chicken thighs, and I'm going to make poulet à la normande, which I've been fancying doing for ages. Um, I haven't got any Calvados. I've got cider, so I'll just chuck some brandy in to replace the Calvados, because it'll be fine. So I'm going to make that one day. And I bought some vegetables already prepared for stir fry, which is nice. Saves me chopping my fingers off whilst I'm chopping up veg. I bought the duck breasts for Christmas Day. They're in the freezer, and bits and pieces. So it was massive. But I didn't look, because if I took Mark into the cheese area, we would have been there for hours, and he would have come away with more cheese than he can get through. It was a massive, massive cheese area. Massive. I was shocked, really. And I know Jo goes in Grand sometimes when she's down in just outside Limoges, and she buys halloumi. And I have eaten halloumi once, and I have never ever worked out what the furore around it is. But anyway, I'm sure I would have been able to pick up halloumi had I wanted to. So yeah, we did that, and then we ate in Buffalo Grill. The choice for us, there are other restaurants on that park. The choice for us was KFC, Buffalo Grill, or Profusion. We've gone off Profusion, which is a sort of Asian. It's Asian and other buffet style eating. So you go in and you can just go and help yourself and there's loads of different dishes, that you can help yourself to. And we've gone off that because quite often, I think if you choose the Chinesey Asian style food, which I do, there's probably been MSG added to it, or will have been MSG added to it, and we come away feeling quite uncomfortable and bloated. Even if, because the last time we went, we sort of were really careful not to overload the plate and have smaller amounts, but we still didn't feel that comfortable afterwards, so we didn't go in there. We've gone off KFC. I've gone off KFC. I used to love, especially back in the 80s and 90s. When you used to be able to buy a proper piece of chicken, you used to get 3 pieces or 4 pieces of chicken, and it was pieces of chicken. It was really succulent. And they've changed all that now, and it's now chicken tenders, which is just like chicken nuggets, but they look bigger. But I'm sure they're probably made the same way chicken nuggets are, which is reclaimed chicken. So it's yeah. You have a look on Google and see what reclaimed chicken is. So we didn't go there. And the other thing, ethically, they got it really wrong a few days ago, a couple of weeks ago, suggesting that people in Germany went out to celebrate Kristallnacht by eating KFC, completely missing the whole history of that, and assuming that people would celebrate it. So yeah, KFC wasn't on the menu, so it was Buffalo Grill, which is fine. It's quite formulaic. It's a very Americanized menu. Lots of burgers, lots of steak. I didn't really look at what else there is because I normally go for steak. The guy that served us, as soon as we started thinking about what we wanted, he went, "Oh, do you want to speak English? My first language is English." It was like, okay, because I don't want to speak English, because I've said before, I find it really complicated in a restaurant because I'm used to ordering in French and reading in French and all of that. But he wanted to speak English, and he was from New York. He was a young guy from New York who was doing, I think he got another 8 months worth of studying over here. So obviously working in Buffalo Grill to make up his money, and sort of chatting to him. And I said, what are you going to do when you finish? Do you want to stay here? Oh no, I want to go back. I miss my I miss my country. But he had an accent, and it confused us. I could hear a bit of New York, and I didn't check with him whether it was New York City or New York State. He'd got a bit of an accent, and so when he came back later on with our food, Mark said to him, he said, You've got an accent," and he said, "Oh, my dad's French." So it was and he spent 10 years in France when he was young. So his French is obviously very good. I could hear his American, his New York accent behind it, but when speaking English, he's speaking English like a French person with a bit of New York added on. So that was intriguing. I think he really enjoyed speaking to us. He gave Mark an extra sauce for his burger, and I think he probably chucked extra cream on my plate for my that I had. I had a big profiterole as my dessert with, but I don't like squirty cream. It's like I left it anyway. I don't like squirty cream. I just think it's such a waste of. It's just a waste of space, and left long enough, it just collapses and dilutes, and because it's mainly water and whatever else is pumped into it to make it squirty and foamy. That I hate stuff like that. I just find it's another ultra processed food, which is a waste. If you're gonna eat cream, eat fucking cream. If you're gonna have the calories, and cream is fine. Um, Eat cream, not squirty crap. I saw a photo online the other day of a collection of food ready for Thanksgiving in America, and was sort of quite taken by how much of it had already been made by someone else, how processed it was, down to even there was a packet of leeks. Oh no, it was celery. It's the cleanest celery I've ever seen. A packet of carrots that had already been peeled, and it was all sealed in polythene. Carrots already peeled and prepped, and I'm just thinking, it it's still not real food, is it? When it's all been prepped like that, and it doesn't look appealing. I don't. It doesn't look appealing to me. It doesn't feel real. On the other end of that, Joe was out the other night with a couple of friends in our local new restaurant, which is sort of high end food, and I have avoided it because quite often I look at the menu and I don't see stuff on it that I fancy, and I got this idea that it's quite pretentious, and she was in there and she shared photos of her food, and I couldn't work out what was on her plate. She enjoyed it, her friends enjoyed it, and I couldn't work out what was on her plate. There was something really odd looking on her plate, and I was thinking, no, it can't be. What is that? I spoke to her yesterday. She had pigeon, um, so which is why it looks so small, because a pigeon breast is really small. She had pigeon, but what was on her plate that I could see was also half the leg with the foot on. So she said she said she was a bit shocked when that came out on her plate. I would have been I would have not been happy to have that on my plate. That's the side of French cuisine that I can't deal with. The more earthy, the very bottom end of the. It's not the bottom end. It's the prized end. I think for some people, it's like if you have rabbit here, and you're served up the ribs with the heart still attached. That's considered you're sort of honored to have that piece of rabbit. And if you have the head of the chicken with the comb still on it, that is a delicacy. So at that end of the spectrum, no thank you. But the other end of the spectrum, where everything's pre-prepped and pre-cleaned and washed and perfect and wrapped in polythene, I don't want that either. I just think that is going too far. So yeah, I like something more in the middle, and maybe a little bit lower than middle for some people. I talked about Christmas dinner, and I taught a traditional Christmas dinner, and I missed out something called pigs in blankets, which some years I might have done and other years I might not have done. And pigs in blankets is small sausages wrapped in a piece of thin bacon and cooked in the oven. And I think there was something else that I forgot that some people have, and I can't remember what it is now. And there's a meal that you can, one of the meals that you can make with your leftover turkey is layers of turkey and broccoli and a Campbell's double concentrated chicken soup, which you wouldn't buy here, and cheese, and you layer it with the turkey broccoli cheese, and then you mix in curry powder into the soup, and then you pour. I think you might dilute the soup because it wouldn't be enough for a big layer. Dilute the soup, add curry powder to the soup, pour it over all the layers, and then finish it off with some cheese and bake it in the oven. Oh, I quite fancy that now. You won't have that because we won't have leftover turkey. Unless I saw a turkey in Grand Frère yesterday. It was a fresh turkey, which obviously that would be a bit ridiculous to buy that and then freeze it. It was €43. I don't know how big it was. I bought that before, because it's not so easy here to buy turkeys for Christmas. I think nearer Christmas, just before Christmas, I could, if I wanted to buy a whole frozen turkey, but I don't want to do that. And as somebody said, if you've got 12 people sitting around the table, then yeah, fine, a whole turkey is fine, but there'll be 3 of us. So that was yesterday. Let's hope that the plumber that comes on Monday is interested in plumbing our shower and sink in up there. I don't think he will be. I think that's going to be a disappointment for both him and for us, and we'll have to wait until next year for the English plumber that said that he'll call me next year. Yeah, I don't think we're going to get anything done this year now. We're a month away from Christmas, and it's like there's small periods, there's small windows of opportunity, aren't there, between Christmas, Toussaint, spring holiday, whatever that's called, summer holiday, whatever that's called. There's these small windows of opportunity to get work done, and we missed it. We missed it because we started asking for devis in May, and we got one person, one enterprise give us the devi, which we then went and signed for and paid a deposit for, and that was for the shutters. And since then, we've been banging our heads against a brick wall. So that's 7 months. It's mad, absolutely mad. But I'm going to continue to bang my head against a brick wall so that at least something starts happening next year. We did get a devi back from Monsieur Gabillon for the micro station. So, and we've signed that. That's gone back with a deposit. So hopefully something might move on that, and that would be good if they moved on that really quickly because our FOSS isn't working. So we haven't backed up yet. We're not having overflowing toilets, but the FOSS isn't working properly and it needs replacing. It's probably, I don't know, we've been here 16 years. It's probably double that. It's probably 30 years old. It really is not fit for purpose and has done really well. But yeah, it'd be good to see the back of that. Chickens are locked in terms of they're not out free ranging. I hadn't realised, but it wasn't until I watched Brooke and Rebecca sorting their chickens out. I hadn't really realised that we're locked down again for avian flu. So so they're locked in now, which is a shame for Ida. So she hasn't got anybody ranging the garden with her. I can't do anything about that. I could put her in with the chickens, but there's not any grass in there for her to eat and ruminate on. So she wouldn't like it anyway. So it's a shame. So there we are. That's what's going on here. And I'm doing stir fry, chicken stir fry later. I'm very hungry, comme d'habitude. But that's okay. C'est normal. Okay, have a good one. Whatever your one is, have one. Good.